If you're looking for day trading education, a high-level trade analysis and dissection, you've come to the right place. My name is Pat Mitchell. I've been a professional day trader for the past 11 years, and I'm here to bring you exactly that. Professional day trading education, all here for free on YouTube and on X. And tonight we're going to be discussing two trades. They're very similar trades, basically executed roughly the same way, same time. But we're going to talk about risk profiles and when we can extend our risk. Okay. So let's get into it. I hope you all had a wonderful day. I'm going to fire up my charts. One quick sec. Let's do this. Okay. So now that we are into the charts, we're going to be going over a couple of trades here. Which one should I start with? Let's actually start with the daily chart. Okay, so I'm going to pull these charts out a little bit just so then we have a little bit more view. So I want to talk about the relationship between distance and retracement. So when you take a look at where we closed last night, and this is important. So where we closed last night to where we opened, there's been no retracement. Okay, we consolidated a little bit after hours, no retracement. And then this morning, it sells off. It sells straight off. We had a small little itty bitty retracement about 1 point. Now, that's very small. We closed above the 9 EMA yesterday. And then where we open, there's actually a little bit of a trend line here. Okay, there's a trend line and a gap fill, but the gap fill is behind the wall, behind here. Okay, and I consider that a wall. So when we have that, it's a valid level. We have two pieces of technical analysis that would give us that support level. So what, and I should pull up my SPY entries. So there's two trades I took on SPY. The initial trade, and now I'm going to zoom in a little bit. One sec. So it's a very quick trade. Sorry, I got to keep zooming in because it's such a small little bounce. But we open up and we come down into that level. Now we ended up bouncing. It's about a 50 cent gain on the equity, but it's a decent, it's about 10-12% play on the options. It's not a big play, but it's there. So enter into the level, right? That's how I work the trade. So enter into the level, pay myself on the way back up. Okay, that's what I did here. As it comes back down, because it's a valid level, I am going to add on potential confirmation. So there's a difference between confirmation and potential confirmation. Confirmation means exactly that. It's confirmed. We already know, judging by price action and reading the price action, it is confirmed strength. Okay. This is potential. As it comes into that, because of the valid level, I will enter in again. I will add in back to my original position. Now, it's not a big position, okay? That add, because I still believe that there is still pretty high probabilities and odds that this will fail. But because it's above support and we've sold off, I will take a stab at it. So then it sells off. Now, my next entries here are down here. Okay, and I need to point this out because people will look at the level and think that that was the entry, and it's not. So those entries are here. What we have from there down is we have the 20 SMA. And that 20 SMA is, oops, that's a little bit high, but it's in that area. Okay, so that 20 SMA on the daily. Remember, we closed last night. We closed above the 9 EMA and we gapped all the way down and sold straight off into that 20. There's major protection there. Okay. So basically, I'm going to work this trade and extend my risk. It's not just because of the 20 SMA. Now I want to point out a couple of things on this daily chart. You see this big wick? Well, obviously it got bought up there. It got bought up right at this specific price point at 654.30. There are buyers there, and there's big buyers. Okay, there's a lot of volume in that area. It sold straight off and it got bought up. It's a very similar setup here. Okay, Now, not only that, if you actually, and this is what a lot of traders will miss, and I discussed this live on screen share here today. Where did this green candle get super squeezy and become irrational? Meaning like very like huge follow through right at that price point. So essentially it's getting bought here, here, and there's even more support now with that 20 SMA. So all of that adds up to me extending that risk profile. You can't just like flippantly extend that risk, right? Meaning like your stop out. What you need to do is you need to have a proper reason, not some bullshit reason that you drum up in your head. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. It needs to be a valid reason that you're reading on the daily chart in combination with your entry on the intraday chart. It needs to line up. Long story short, it needs to line up. It needs to make sense. That trade plan needs to check out. So that's why I'm extending my risk on SPY. Now, this ended up being a really big trade, okay? But I want to talk about my entries here first. Normally, what you would see on my entry chart is one more entry down here as it's selling off into that level. So what I opted for was to keep my position sizing small and my average. It's not going to be nice, okay? It's going to be a long hold, okay? I'm not going to sell on this first push. What I need to do is allow this to fully work. So there's all sorts of different types of trades. Okay. Now remember, I've been doing this for 11 years. There's a lot of experience that comes with doing this for over a decade. So in this trade, I'm not looking to take my traditional enter into the level and pay myself. I know there's a bigger picture play here. It's going to get sucked up. It's going to get bought up. Now, I don't know how far up it's going to go, but we should retrace 50%. So I'm going to clean up this chart and we're going to talk about that. And I know there's a lot of info in this video. So what I would suggest is probably watch this again. But I'm going to scroll all the way out to where we closed. Okay. So I projected a 50% retracement and I drew it literally right here, moments, about 3 minutes before it hit that level. It's right at a gap fill. There's a gap fill there at a 50% retracement. Okay. That 50% retracement on big days is really important. Okay. And then I even said, we're probably going to close. It's going to piss around and it will come back down and test this level and it's going to come back up and we're going to piss around. And sure, it's sold off. That's fine. But I said by the end of the day, we're going to be in a range of that 50% retracement. Now, I understand that that 50% retracement is up here, but you're within tolerance. You're within a point of that. That's how you're able to project, essentially see the future in these trades. So none of this is random, okay? A lot of this is, like I said, it's a lot of experience. So to get back into why I added now, where I added, you can see my blue entry here. I added when it's coming down into potential. Remember, we talked about potential confirmation. So as it comes up and comes into that trend area and sells back off, I'm going to allow it to bounce and hold. That's all I'm looking for because I am going to add in and I will apply pressure. Now I'm going to fix my average. Okay. And I'm going to give it that full risk. So as it comes in here, you see my entry and I correct that average and I get a pretty nice average. And then my target on this is right here because it has to. I talked about this last night and I talk about this a lot. If you understand, like if you all most likely consider yourselves technical traders, you trade technicals, right? There's not a lot of day traders that trade fundamentals. That would be fucking stupid because it is. It's not a day trading thing. That's a trading and investing thing, but not a day trading thing. You're not day trading fundamentals, right? So we're day trading technicals. So if you're day trading technicals, we have to understand technical analysis 101. We have to understand how and what and why these stocks do what they do. And you need to trust it. You need to trust the fact that once it confirms, it has no choice but to come to here. So I'm not going to sell all the way up. Remember, I'm trading a bigger picture idea here, right? I know I'm going to be able to get some nice follow through in this trade. So trade like stripped off the majority of my contracts up in this area, right in here. And then once it shot up on this candle here, that was like, I forget how much that was. It was a big percentage gain just off of one candle. I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm out. That's good enough for me. That's all I'm looking for. So it's easy to take a look at entries, right? And say, oh, you held a long time. But what I'm trying to give to you is a different perspective, a professional perspective when we're trading. It depends on your time frame, your timeline. Like, what are you looking to get out of this trade? And you'll get to a point in your career, as long as you're always kind of pushing yourself, you're going to get to a point where we know within a certain sense, a certain amount of odds, right? Reliability, where these stocks are going to go. So when you know that and you've worked your ass off to get there, you're going to pay yourself, or you're going to have targets, or you're going to simply extend your risk in different ways on different trades. Not every trade is the same. It's all very different. Okay. So that was SPY, and I locked in $3,649 on that because the drawdown was definitely a little bit more, and then the correction of the average and then allowing it to come up. This I was actually expecting to be the banger. It didn't work out that way, but still very respectable trade. Now let's talk about Qs. Qs actually fell in line a little bit better and a little bit easier. So Qs, where we were opening up right in this area, that's halfway in between our channel. Those are some of my favorite trades, right? Why, you might ask? Well, when we open, it can only, at the market open, it can pop and it will come up into test resistance, or at the open, it will dip and test support. There's no two ways about it. When you open up halfway, it needs to find that support or resistance. It's going to choose one. And then if it finds resistance, you can go short. If it finds support, you go long. It's as simple as that. So on this one here, you can see Qs came into the level and paused for about 2 minutes. And then it continued to sell off. Why? If this is such a valid level, which it is, it's a beautiful gap fill, a clean gap fill. It should have bounced there. Well, that's kind of it's like a double-edged sword when you trade Qs and SPY together all the time. So if SPY doesn't find valid support and it still has distance into an even more valid level than what Qs' level is, although valid, it's going to keep coming down. Well, Qs can't quite hold on. That's too far of a stretch. So when that happens, you don't freak out simply because it broke a level. Remember, you just entered into that level. That's just your entry, your proper entry. So you have to allow it and give it some risk. So what you risk off of in this case is SPY into the 20 or that lower level. You have to open up that risk, and that's what I did. Now, I didn't need to use all of that risk because it did get bought up prior to that 20 SMA. So as it's coming down and SPY is starting to bottom and base, because I'm looking for a different type of trade on Qs. I'm not looking for that big picture trade, although it ended up being a bigger trade profit wise. It's not, I'm looking for that on SPY. But because I'm in on Qs, I want to get out as it's going to push into this. Like, this level is now my target. I start here, add down here, get out into that level, which is former support, now going to test as resistance. This here is a traditional day trade. This one is a bigger picture trade. Do you understand? They're two very different trades. So I ended up locking in here on Qs. One sec, I'm going to clean up this chart. I ended up locking in $6,556. So about 10K on the day on two trades where they were longer holds than you usually see. And definitely for some, they can be a difficult hold. But again, this is where experience comes in. There's no stress. Like a lot of people will go on and on and on about how day trading is stressful. It's not stressful. Stress is caused, like the root cause of stress is not knowing, right? Like think about any time you've stressed out over anything. Maybe a bill payment was coming due and you didn't know that you're going to have enough money for it or something. It's the not knowing if I would have money to pay that. It's the not knowing. So in day trading, we can control that through the use of education and knowledge. It's the most powerful thing that we have, right? And the world's full of it right now. But I was thinking about this today, and this trade recap is going to take a little bit of a diversion here because I had a thought that I wanted to share with you guys. So it wasn't that long ago, 20, 25 years ago or so, before the internet became the internet, right? People that had a thirst and a quest for knowledge, no matter what they wanted to like research or look up, they didn't have their phones or a computer where it's easy. They had to get in their car, or if you're younger, walk or take the bus or your bike to the library. And then you needed to look up books. You had to use the Dewey Decimal System and look up what book you were trying to find. Okay. You had to actually apply yourself. Now you don't. So it's easy. So it's easy for the lazy type of person, the lazy people, to have knowledge, right? Knowledge is something that should be available for everyone. I get that. But not everybody respects it. Because for me, I've always respected knowledge, right? I've always had a thirst and a quest for knowledge about anything. Anything I've ever been even remotely interested in, I would go to the library and pick up a bunch of books on it and stay there for hours and go check it out, right? Now you don't have to. So knowledge is an education is everybody has access to it. If you have one of these, you have access to it, right? And so it's not respected anymore. Even the laziest motherfucker on the planet can have the world's knowledge and education at his or her fingertips, right? But they don't respect it. And that's what's happening today. I see it all over the place. You have people that are completely ill-advised, uneducated, and they flap about shit, right? Because they have this. Where before, the ones that would actually spit knowledge and spit facts, you could take that stuff to the bank. Why? Because you know that that person had to apply themselves, right? Now, I can remember one of my first gifts, and I started reading really young. I wanted the World Book Encyclopedia set. I was 4 years old. I was a little bit of an odd kid. So I wanted the World Book Encyclopedia set, okay? That's what this is now. So there was a time, and this is going to sound, I'm just telling you, like, there's lots of different types of people out there. Like I've always had a quest for knowledge. I could tell you the Congolese president going back 5 years. I could tell you each and every president or whatever, prime minister, whatever it was at that time. I could tell you that stuff. I read that from A to Z, starting at 4 years old. Obviously, it took me years to do that. But what I'm trying to get at is don't disrespect and don't take knowledge for granted, because a lot of people do it because it's easy. Even when it comes to day trading, I had a former member out there that his name's Kevin, and he was a member for years. So he's used to my methodology and my mindset, and it's been drilled into him. And he made a comment, and I understand on YouTube, most of you, some of you might be watching on your phones. If you are, you're lazy. That's just, I'm just being honest with you. This is education. This is knowledge. You should respect it. And if you're really into it, you should be watching on a bigger screen, your monitors or your TV, and you should take it serious, right? Like if you're doing something, do it right, right? I'm a firm believer in that. And he made the comment that because you use hollow green candles, I can't see it. Well, you can't see it because you're fucking lazy. That's why. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, a lot of people don't like to hear the truth. That's the truth. You can't expect a professional day trader, right? Somebody that does this for a living to change his charts for you because you're lazy. It's unacceptable. Like, people need to start taking this sort of stuff serious. This is your pathway to freedom, man. And you half-ass it. You watch it on this, on a what? On a 3 by 8 inch screen or 3 by 6. What are you fucking doing? Right? And that's just one piece of like, or one example of how people take for granted information and education. I got lots of them. I won't bore you with them. But again, it's just a thought that I had that, like I had to go to the fucking library for information. Now it's like easily accessible. So it draws everybody in and everyone thinks that they have the right to knowledge and information and education, which they do, but you have to respect it or else you're spitting in the face of that education. And that's why you're not getting anywhere. It's just a constant circle because you're not taking it serious. I know you're not taking it serious. So if you want to work with a day trader that actually gives a shit and wants to get you there, right? Come to tricktrades.com. If not, all good. Enjoy the free shit. It's going to take you forever. That's all you. That's on you. So have a good one, guys. I'm going to see you tomorrow. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. October 1st, 7 p.m., I'm doing a day trading specific psychology webinar. Don't miss it. This isn't your regular day trading psychology fluff. Most psychology that you hear about trading is exactly that, trading psychology. It's very different. It's not even in the realm of the same. It's very different. Day trading specific psychology. Don't miss it. Okay, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. That is October 1st. The pinned comment will have the link for you to RSVP. Adios, folks.